Hello, boys and girls, and those who bounce in between. It's Comrade Denki here with our second reading of a wonderful book called Lenin, Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism. This is the first chapter, Concentration of the Production and Monopolies. The enormous growth of industry and remarkably rapid concentration of production in ever larger enterprises are one of the most characteristic features of capitalism. Modern production censuses give us most complete and most exact data on this process. In Germany, for example, out of every 1,000 industrial enterprises, large enterprises, i.e., those spending more than 50 workers, numbered 3 in 1882, 6 in 1895, and 9 in 1907. Out of every 100 workers employed, this group of enterprises employed 22, 30, and 37 respectively. Concentration of production, however, is much more intense than concentration of workers, since labor in these large enterprises is much more productive. This is shown by the figures on steam engines and electric motors. We take what in Germany is called industry in the broad sense of the term, that is, including commerce, transport, etc., we get the following picture. Large-scale enterprises, 30,588 out of a total 3,265,623. That is to say, 0.9%. These enterprises employ 5,700,000 workers out of a total 14,400,000, i.e. 39.4%. They use 6,600,000 steam horsepower out of a total of 8,800,000, i.e. 75.3%, and 1,200,000 kilowatts of electricity out of a total of 1,500,000, i.e. 77.2%. Whoa, throwing out some big boy numbers, Lenin. Alright. Less than 1/100th of the total number of enterprises utilize more than 3/4 of the total amount of steam and electric power. 2,970,000 small enterprises employing up to 5 workers, constituting 91% of the total, utilize only 7% of the total amount of steam and electric power. Tens of thousands of huge enterprises are everything. Millions of small ones are nothing. You hear that, anarchists? I'm sorry. I don't mean to talk shit about anarchy. Let me drink a little bit of water. My throat's getting dry. All right, that's better. In 1907, there were in Germany 586 establishments employing 1,000 and more workers, nearly 1,380,000 of the total number of workers employed in industry. That consumed almost 1/3, 32% of the total amount of steam and electric power. As we shall see, money, capital, and the banks make the superiority of a handful of the largest enterprises still more overwhelming. In the most literal sense of the word, i.e. millions of small, medium, and even some big proprietors are in fact in complete subjugation to some hundreds of millionaire financiers. So what Lenin's trying to say here is that, despite Germany having 586 establishments, the real control of these establishments is concentrated in a few hundred of these, financiers, these big capitalists. He says, in another advanced country of modern capitalism, the USA, the growth of the concentration of production is still greater. Here, statistics single out industry in the narrow sense of the word to classify enterprises according to their value of their annual output. In 1904, large-scale enterprises with output valued at $1 million and over numbered 1,900 out of 216,180, i.e. 0.9%. These employed 1,400,000 workers out of 5,500,000, i.e. 25.6%, and the value of their output amounted to 5,600,000,000. Wow, that's a lot. Out of 14,800,000,000, i.e. 38%. 5 years later, in 1909, the corresponding figures were 3,060 enterprises out of 268,491, i.e. 1.1%, employing 2 million workers out of 6,600,000, aka 30.5%, with an output valued at 9 billion out of 20,700,000,000, aka 43.8%. Whew. Almost half the total production of all enterprises in the country was carried out by 1/100th part of these enterprises. These 3,000 giant enterprises embrace 258 branches of industry. From this, it can be seen that a certain stage of its development, concentration itself, as it were, leads straight to monopoly, for a score or so of giant enterprises can easily arrive at an agreement, and on the other hand, the hindrance to competition, the tendency towards monopoly, arises from the huge size of the enterprises. This transformation to completion into monopoly is one of the most important, if not the most important phenomena of modern capitalist economy. And we must deal with it in greater detail, but first we must clear up one possible misunderstanding. American statistics speak of 3,000 giant enterprises and 250 branches of industry, as if there were only a dozen enterprises on the largest scale for each branch of industry. But this is not the case. Not every branch of industry were the large-scale enterprises, and moreover, the very feature of capitalism and the highest stage of development of so-called combination of production. That is to say, in the group of a single enterprise in different branches of industry, which either represent the consecutive stages in the processing of raw materials. For example, the melting down of iron ore into pig iron, the conversion of pig iron into steel, and then perhaps the manufacture of steel goods, or are auxiliary to one another. For example, the utilization of scrap or of byproducts, the manufacture of packing materials, etc. Combination rights Hilferding levels out the fluctuation of trade and therefore assures the combined enterprises of a more stable rate of profit. Secondly, combination has this effect of eliminating trade. Thirdly, it has the effect of rendering possible technical improvements and consequently the blah blah blah. Jesus. Oh my fuck. What can I say, ladies and gentlemen? I'm gonna wear my fucking voice out trying to read this book. If you really want an in-depth explanation into how monopolies form, read this chapter. I might make just a kind of a summary of this chapter, cause yeah, reading it out loud, damn, it's I'm not good at reading stuff out loud to begin with, and so this shit is dense, bro. This shit is dense. Lenin was no dummy, that's for sure. So, stay tuned for my summary of this chapter and summary of more chapters to come, because I like this book. I just don't like reading it out loud.